Welcome to KLST's Weather Authority Severe Threat Special. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jay Martin. With the Concho Valley severe weather season here, the Weather Authority is going to cover what you need to know, from watches and warnings to what you can expect for our severe weather.
The KLST Your Weather Authority Severe Threat Special. Sponsored by Keating Paint and Body and Kent Elliott Roofing.
In the Concho Valley, meteorologists look at the jet stream all the way down to surface temperatures for the forming of severe weather.
In the Concho Valley, there are a few things that come together during our severe weather season at the surface.
We got two big factors here in the springtime right now operating in San Angelo, the Concho Valley. It's the jet stream. It's quite active this time of year before it shifts off to the north by June. And then, of course, you have warm, moist air coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. And then you still have cold fronts coming in. So when these three pieces of ingredient, of course, including the dry line, when they all come together, these are the prime ingredients for severe weather.
And the upper atmosphere. This year we are in a La Nina. That means cold ocean temperatures in the equilateral Pacific. This can affect our jet stream and our severe weather possibility.
La Nina was supposed to not give us all this snow that we had. It was not supposed to give us all this cold that we got. What I'm trying to say is there's other things going on in the atmosphere besides La Nina. In that case, it was the Arctic Oscillation. Well, right now, the jet stream is still strong across this part of Texas, and we've already seen periods of hail already in this part of Texas. What could it mean? I think the way the jet stream is currently oriented, we're going to continue to see chances for severe storms going into the month of March, April. Perhaps it might back off a little bit until we transition into our typical May and into mid-June severe weather season, where we see the big storms that fire up, that afternoon dry line that develops out to the west. So I think this La Nina has been different this year in the way it's operated and brought us all those snowstorms.
As we head into our severe weather season, you will want to be prepared.
Had an active jet. It's also been a wavy, I call it a very wavy, intense upper level jet stream that brought those upper lows across us periodically. Man, if we were to get one of those upper lows next month, it could be pretty significant for severe weather.
A meteorologist has many tools we use during active weather. One of our biggest tools is radar.
Typically, a meteorologist stands in front of a green screen, points to the map, and explains where weather is happening. But understanding what is being pointed out is key to knowing what to anticipate, especially in severe weather events. The most common type of radar used is called reflectivity, which shows how much rain or snow is in a system. Scales are used to determine how large or small raindrops are, which can help determine if an area is receiving light or heavy rainfall. Reflectivity shows different types of scales. It can show light rain, heavy rain, and hail or snow, all with a different set of colors to work with. Velocity is the wind direction relative to the Doppler radar and moves in a horizontal motion. When bright green and bright red colors are next to each other, this is a strong indicator of either a funnel cloud or a tornado. During the day, it's easier to get confirmation on severe weather with the help of trained storm spotters. However, chasing storms at night is not encouraged, and severe weather is determined by radar and the meteorologists who interpret the data.
Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about thunderstorms as well as some of the risks that thunderstorms pose. You're watching KLST.
Watches and warnings are used to communicate severe weather risks to the public.
And meteorologist Chris Boone breaks down some of the differences between watches and warnings.
The differences between a severe thunderstorm watch and a severe thunderstorm warning: watches are generally a heads up about the potential for some severe weather. That means the ingredients are favorable for the severe weather to occur. This gives you and your family time to create a safety plan and know where you want to be in the event severe weather was to occur. You also want to make sure that you have the ability to receive those warnings when they are issued, whether it be listening to us here on KLST, having a weather radio, or having your phone charged enough that it can receive those warnings when they are issued. A severe thunderstorm warning is usually a little bit more immediate. It means the severe weather event is occurring, or that it is expected in the next several minutes, and that includes winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, as well as hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. When a severe thunderstorm warning is issued, that's when you want to execute your plan and take shelter and continue to listen for when the warning expires.
With severe weather season, you need a few ingredients to get A, showers, B storms, and then increasing those to severity of stronger winds and, of course, tornadic possibility. The 4 ingredients that we look for is moisture, instability, lift, and exhaust. So the first thing we look for, of course, is with springtime and summer, we have warm and humid air that sits over most of Texas and here in the Concho Valley. That allows that warm air to rise, forming clouds at first, but the more moisture and more uplift we have, we see the more the clouds form and get a little bit taller. You see those cumulonimbus that grow in height. Then once it gets too much condensation, too much moisture in it, it starts to condense into rain, and then that's when we'll have a downdraft forming those rain chances and forming that rain. As that happens, the storm will start to progress, trying to find more energy. So as it goes into more warm and humid air, it'll have the updraft for that, and then the downdraft behind that from the rain chances. So that's how basic thunderstorms are formed. We could also see them starting to form along the cold pool because it does feel a little bit cooler as that rain comes down from those thunderstorms. And we could see as that cool air pushes out, even more storms forming along that, pushing that warm air up, causing instability, causing the moisture to condense, and more showers and storms to form along that. So with that, for us here in the Concho Valley, we are watching the dry line. It is the biggest driver we see here during our severe weather season for severe thunderstorms and, of course, for the possibility of tornadoes. That is because we are in the warm and humid section of the state, while you see warm and dry air out towards New Mexico. As that dry line kind of pushes east, we'll start to see some forming of those storms, and then it'll push back, getting us back into the warm and humid. So that's why we'll see not a cool down, not a cold front that cools us down, more of dry air, but still staying on the warm side. As that forms, we're watching moisture coming in off the Gulf, getting in plenty of that moisture, allowing for that instability. So we'll see some clouds starting to form along that dry line, and then as it pushes and gets a little bit more instability, allowing that to rise, that's when we'll start to see the storms starting to form. And depending on how much warm air and moisture we have in our area will depend on the severity of those storms. So that's how we see the thunderstorms starting to form and what they can do as they progress across our area.
When we talk about tornado formation, what we really want to talk about is the shear environment. And that's what we see in the upper levels and in the lower levels. You can have wind speed shear as well as directional shear, and that is wind speeds moving faster in the upper levels than they are at the surface. And what that does is it creates a rotating column of air on the horizontal axis that, again, continues to spin in the atmosphere. And if we have a thunderstorm develop along this shear environment, or if a updraft were to move in towards this shear environment, that begins to pick up this horizontal and it tilts it more in the vertical axis. And again, that's that rotating column of air that tilts more upwards and downwards. That increases the chances for tornado formation. And with the parent thunderstorm, we'll have a wall cloud form. That's a precursor to the possibility of a tornado. And then we watch for, again, the formation of a tornado. If it continues to extend all the way down to the ground, that's when we consider a tornado. And if it extends from the cloud but doesn't quite reach the ground, then it is just considered a funnel cloud. So why do we stress the formation of tornado and the formation of tornadoes going into the next couple of months? That's because this is our peak for the possibility of tornadoes in the state of Texas, at least through May and June. And then in July, when we start to get into the more dog days of summer, we get into a more quiet pattern, and we see those thunderstorm and tornado risks begin to decrease. Being in the weather career field doesn't make you immune from storm damage.
I lost a windshield in the last major storm here.
And my truck was totaled because of the hail damage.
Now here's a look at how hail forms and why they can grow so large.
Well, everyone knows about Tornado Alley. Hail Alley is also part of the United States, and that includes parts of Nebraska, Colorado, as well as Wyoming. It makes up this little corridor that sees the highest intensity as well as the frequency for hailstones. And while the Concho Valley isn't included in Hail Alley, we still see plenty of hailstones ourselves during severe season. So the question is, how does hail form? And that starts with the thunderstorm and the updrafts that form them. Again, moisture is lifted above the freezing layer within the thunderstorm, and that is allowed to repeat several times until ice begins to accumulate. Again, as those hailstones grow, at some point will reach too strong for the updraft to suspend, and then it falls back down towards the Earth's surface. So then we'll watch for stronger updrafts because that can lead to stronger hailstones, again, larger in size as again it accumulates more ice. Most hail, on the other hand, stays on the lower end of the spectrum, only pea to dime size, but once you get to 1 inch in diameter, that's when we consider it to be a severe criteria, and hailstones can grow even beyond that to golf ball and even up to softball size, about 4.5 inches in diameter. So again, that's why we stress the dangers of hail as we kind of go into severe season. We've seen some of these stronger hailstones as well here in San Angelo. We saw this back in May of last year with this thunderstorm that came through the area. And even with the smaller hailstones, you can see the rings in it, showing you how many times these stones are lifted up in the freezing layer and then falls back down because of the updrafts. Again, that's why you can kind of count how many times they make that cycle as you kind of look at those rings in it. And hailstones are very dangerous. They can damage property as well as agriculture and injure people and livestock. That's why we stress the dangers of hail when it comes to severe weather season.
Chris Boone discussed how thunderstorms create lightning and how you can protect yourself.
So breaking down the science behind lightning, it starts with the thunderstorm itself. Again, as the thunderstorm grows, it separates the electrical charges, leaving the negative charges along the base of the cloud and positive charges a little bit higher up in the cloud. So it kind of turns the thunderstorm into a battery of sorts. And again, that looks for this electricity to begin looking for positive charges so that it can discharge this imbalance. So again, it sends out step leaders from the cloud down towards the surface, and then positive charges begin working its way upwards. And once that connection is made, again, that's when the discharge of electricity occurs and we see the resulting lightning. And again, the lightning strike itself can heat the air to over 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and that allows the air to expand so fast that it actually breaks the sound barrier. That is the resulting thunder that you hear following a lightning strike. Now, most of the lightning, again, stays in the upper parts of the cloud. Again, we'll see it in most of the cloud, but again, the cloud to ground lightning is the most concerning part. That puts most people at risk. And again, results in the possibility for some deadly lightning. So again, lightning safety tips. Again, the best way to avoid lightning, get indoors or stay inside of a car. That keeps you much safer from lightning. And then if you're out in the open, like golf courses or on the lake, you want to try to get away from those open spaces. And again, get low, not being the tallest object, and avoid tall objects. Even indirect strikes of tall objects can be deadly. Driving during thunderstorms can be dangerous, as Jay climbs behind the wheel to show you the risk of hydroplaning on roadways.
Well, I'm here at the Goodyear Proving Grounds here in San Angelo. Even though it's windy and clear skies, we're here to learn some tips on how to drive during storms, severe and not severe, and how to handle hydroplaning. Let's go see what we can learn.
The first thing and the most important thing is just avoid hydroplaning in general, which is by reducing your speed, or, you know, the only other thing you can really do is, you know, by the way your tires are maintained. If the car starts to slide and hydroplaning, starts to hydroplane, you know, not making any sudden movements, so, you know, any sudden inputs to the brake or the steering or the throttle, you know, can help you not lose control. But yeah, the most important thing is speed. So you control it by how fast you're going. The faster you go, the more likely you are to hydroplane.
And you're saying deep water, and I'm thinking like feet, but it's not feet, it's like inches.
Yeah, so deep water for us is like a 1/4 inch of water. So and now, now get on the brake.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, there you go. Now get on the brake.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, there you go. Same time, if you do, for whatever reason, need to replace, you know, 2 tires, you need to put the new tires on the rear, and so that means that when you get into a hydroplaning situation, you'll lose grip from the front, not the rear, so you'll give you a better chance of maintaining control. You are in a scenario where, you know, you're doing what you can. You have, you know, properly inflated tires, the car's maintained, and you have you're controlling your speed, and you still get in a scenario where the roadway is very slick, or you do hydroplane, or you're in, you know, kind of winter conditions where it's like, you know, if the rear of the car starts to slide so it oversteers, you know, the proper technique is, you know, to steer into the skid. So if the car starts to slide to the right, you want to steer to the right. You know, how much and how, a lot of that depends on what you're feeling, and you can't necessarily say what to do in every condition, but that's kind of the basic, you know, the basic technique. If you're understeering or the front tires have lost grip, the main thing you need to do is smoothly apply the brakes. So that puts more weight on the front tires, which can give you more grip.
The biggest thing to remember as we head into severe weather season with driving is to reduce your speed.
Now we have a better idea of the risk severe thunderstorms pose.
After the break, we will review some of the ways that you can receive the latest warnings and ways to keep you and your family safe in the storm.
Now that we've looked at the science of the storms
And what hazards each storm can bring,
knowing what actions to take during severe weather is how we protect people and property, as Jay Martin explores.
Well, during severe weather season, there are many things you have to plan, and we're going to be talking about your safe area in your home. It's going to be different for many people, so we're going to cover a few things to look for as you plan your area for protecting yourself from tornadoes. Now, taking a look at this layout of this home, we do see a few areas that you might be thinking of which one to go to. And what you want to look for first is avoiding outside walls, windows, and doors. So of course, that's going to give the hallway and of course this closet the best areas to be. Same for the stairways and a little bit for the bathroom. There is that one outside wall, but it is only one, but it is surrounded by everything else. As one good location to go to. Now, one thing you want to bring with you is, of course, anything you're going to be needing during and after this storm, and something to help protect yourself. A lot of people do grab blankets or mattresses, or I like to remind people about the duck and cover drills we did in elementary school to help you as well, where you were protecting your neck and ducking down. Now, if you do have a second floor, it's always good to be on the first floor, and even if you have a basement, is the most ideal location to go and do your safety area and have during a tornado. But if you do not have one of these, always the most inner room, avoiding all those windows, doors, and of course, protecting yourself and having everything you need as the storm comes through and is out of our area. Sometimes the whirlwind of paperwork after a storm can be just as stressful. Heath Bradberg explains some of the information that could help the calm after the storm feel even calmer.
we hear the warnings, we know the storm is coming, and we prepare for whatever is expected. But then what? Having insurance is essential for anyone in an area prone to natural disasters. And a few things need to be done in order to properly make a claim on storm damage.
The first thing they need to do is document the damage and make sure to look at all the damage that occurred, not just maybe the roof or anything, maybe it damaged some of the backyard or some, grills or furniture or something like that.
But this isn't all. According to Friedman, knowing what coverage we have will help avoid miscommunications and misunderstandings about what's covered.
Know your coverages, know your deductible, so it's not a shocker when you call it in. Also be patient. Sometimes, like that last storm last year, everyone had to be a little patient while roofers got their, adjusters got their, agents were able to get that claim submitted.
Having a list of reputable companies and people to help with the rebuilding process on hand will help us recover quickly.
Do what you need to do to make sure that you can move forward with your life at that minute, at that moment, and be sure to call whoever you need to be safe. And then afterwards is when we'll take care of the insurance and calling and making sure that the right people get involved at that point.
Starting over can be difficult, but it's also necessary when severe weather hits home.
Getting the warning when severe weather occurs can be critical.
Jay Martin has several ways we can get the latest watches and warnings in the Concho Valley.
The Concho Valley app can be downloaded on any Android or Apple product. All you have to do is go to your store and download it. Once it is downloaded, the first step you'll want to do is open it, which will prompt you to select things you want to be notified. We're going to be selecting weather. After this, you'll want to go into your settings. There you can select your location, which will allow you to get information in the area that you are currently located or you have set for yourself. We are going to set ours for San Angelo so we get weather information and updates as things come into Tom Green County and San Angelo. There are several platforms that are a great start when it comes to receiving information about your city. Those on the front lines also have several options to get information to you, but you have to sign up.
We utilize Nixle, which is a mass communication tool to send critical alerts to our citizens. The program is opt-in and the alert system is free for consumers. The police department doesn't retain any of the subscription information. All of that information is run through Nixle. So it is a secure website. They do not use that information to market, and the system is completely safe and secure.
The fire department, we use a platform called AlertSense, and you can sign up public.alertsense.com, and you can subscribe to that platform. You go in, it's really easy online, you can put your email, cell phone, home phone, and for everyone that subscribes, you'll get an alert from the fire department.
These alerts can also be customized, meaning you can pick which ones you can get. If there are certain things you do not want to receive and more, they can even go to landline. All of these officials say that having multiple ways to get critical information is necessary.
Obviously, the television is a good way to get weather alerts. Weather radios, I know some people use them, some people don't, but the good thing about a weather radio is if you lose power, you still have that access because it has a backup battery.
We're going to be talking about how you can program and learn all the best benefits of a Midland weather radio. The first step to programming your Midland weather radio is installing 3 AA batteries in the back of the device. First thing you'll notice after installing the batteries is that the radio says set language. Use the select button to select your language. In our case, we'll choose English and then press select again. The next thing you'll see is set location. So click select again. In this menu, we can choose any location, or we can choose a single location, such as the county we live in, by using the up and down arrows. We're going to choose the single option and press the select button to lock it in. Now our first county is empty, so we'll need to press the select button again to choose that slot. First, choose your country and select. Then choose your state and select. Finally, choose your county and select. All of these menus are navigated with the up and down arrows. Now we can set the time on our radio. Once again, press select and then use the up and down arrows to set the hour. Then press the right arrow to set the minutes. Once again, press select to lock it in. Next, we're going to set our channel. Press select and use the up and down arrows until you hear the weather radio voice. Press select to lock it in. Finally, make sure the on and off switch on the side of the radio is set to on and remains on so that you can get weather alerts at any time. And that's how to stay ahead of the storm with your Midland weather radio. And you can also get all the information on severe weather from your KLST Weather Authority on ConchoValleyHomepage.com. Thank you for joining us, the KLST Weather Authority. We're happy to give you all the information to keep you weather aware as we go into our severe weather season, and we'll be here to give you the most accurate information to stay ahead of the storm.
Sponsored by Keating Paint and Body and Kent Elliott Roofing.